few months after my husband decided by himself that we'd live with his mother, I got screamed at by her. "You can't even do household chores, you useless wife. Get out." I was shocked and looked at her, and she was glaring at me with a bright red face. "You always look so tired. You're really depressing. Don't be a disgrace to my son, the business owner. You parasite." "Excuse me?" I turned to my husband and said, "Hey, your mom is way out of line. Does she have any idea how much I've..." Then, to my surprise, he looked down on me and said,
"My mom's right. We can manage just fine with her around. We don't need you anymore. Get out."
That was the last straw for me. To think he'd decide to live with his mom without consulting me and then say something like this. I thought to myself, I'll make you regret this. I immediately contained my anger and told him, "Oh, really? Thank you."
"What?"
He looked surprised at my words. I quickly presented them with the divorce papers and left the house. 6 months later, my foolish husband and mother-in-law got what they deserved. My name is Lauren, a 32-year-old working at a certain company. With most women continuing to work after marriage these days, I, too, loved my job and didn't choose to quit after getting married, continuing at the company I joined as a fresh graduate. I met my husband Tony at our favorite restaurant, where he was working. We started talking and eventually began dating. He always talked about his dream.
"I want to open my own cafe."
He seemed to have worked day and night at different restaurants to study for this. I supported his dream throughout our relationship, and after 3 years, it became a reality. On the day we celebrated the opening of his cafe, he said to me,
"Lauren, thank you for supporting my dream. It's come true because of you. I want you to always be by my side. Marry me."
"Thank you, Tony. I want to be with you too." So we got engaged and promptly went to meet each other's parents. My parents quickly approved of our marriage, and next, we went to Tony's house. His father had passed away early, and his mother, Susie, lived alone. When we arrived, he introduced me.
"This is Lauren. I want to marry her."
She looked me up and down. "Tony, you want to marry this woman? She seems like she has a strong personality." "Huh? I think someone cuter would be a better match for you, Tony." She said that the moment we met, and I was shocked. He tried to lighten the mood.
"Come on, Mom. We've been together for 3 years. I've got to take responsibility."
I was a bit taken aback by his choice of words. Then his mother sighed. "Well, if that's the case, I'll agree to the marriage. But there's a condition." "A condition?" "You'll live with me. You'll stay with me." Live together? That wasn't the plan. I desperately looked at Tony, trying to communicate with my eyes. We had originally planned to find a rental halfway between his cafe and my office. He seemed to remember this and quickly said to his mother,
"But, Mom, it's far from my cafe and we're newlyweds, after all. We were planning to find a rental."
"What? You can't even live together? I bet she's behind this. How disappointing." Despite her grumbling, she reluctantly agreed to us living separately. That's how our first visit to my mother-in-law ended. I was exhausted and anxious about the future. After that, we got married and started living about 30 minutes from his mother. I thought we were starting a happy life together, but my hopes were soon dashed. My mother-in-law Susie began showing up at our house early every morning. At 6:30 a.m., she'd bang on the door. "Hey, are you still sleeping? Let me in, now!" With her making a scene at the door, I had no choice but to let her in. She would greet Tony cheerfully as soon as she saw him waking up. "Good morning, my honey Tony."
"Oh, hi, Mom. Good morning."
He responded to her as if it were normal. I tried to prepare breakfast silently, but she sharply said, "What are you planning for breakfast?" Toast and some soup, plus a fried egg with salad on the side. No. Tony needs bacon and scrambled eggs for breakfast. Soup is out of the question. Unless it has very fresh ingredients. And make the bacon crispy. Susie, I have work too. I can't spend so much time on this. But she glared at me mercilessly. As I reluctantly stood in the kitchen, she soon started complaining that the scrambled eggs aren't fluffy enough and the ingredients are cut wrong. I silently made breakfast, and when it was ready, she began eating with us as if it were a given. Tony said nothing about it, which frustrated me even more. When it was time to leave for work, he left first. I was getting ready to go to the office and said to her, "Susie, I'm about to leave for work." "Oh, all right. Have a good day." She had no intention of leaving and said that with confidence. "Aren't you going home?" "No, I thought I'd stay here and take care of your inadequate housekeeping." I was at my wit's end with her brazen attitude. "Please, can you go home for today?" "Oh, trying to kick me out, are you? What a terrible wife. I don't know why my sweet Tony married someone like you," she muttered to herself as she finally got up. If left alone, she'd really stay in our house all day. I was at a loss dealing with her. I complained to Tony several times. "I don't like your mom barging in like this." But he always said,
"Mom's probably just lonely since I left. As a wife, you should respect your mother-in-law."
I was frustrated with my unhelpful husband. And it wasn't just that. He came to me with a request.
"Hey, Lauren, can you handle this? The tax filing is coming up."
He handed me a pile of receipts and invoices. "Again? You should be handling your own store's finances." I said this seriously, but he looked surprised.
"You know, I'm not good at this stuff, right? Thanks. I'm counting on you."
Just like that, Tony would shamelessly pass off tasks like accounting and procurement for his store to me. He played the part of a business owner, but he didn't understand the most crucial part, the numbers, and left everything to me. I had to handle both my job and his store's accounting, which was quite a burden. A year into our marriage, I came home from work to find a pile of cardboard boxes in the room. What? What is this? As I shuffled through the cardboard boxes to the living room, I saw Tony and his mother. "Tony, what's all this about?"
"Oh, I've decided to let Mom move in with us."
"What?" I was stunned. As Susie smirked, he continued.
"It's hard for her to come here every day, you know? She cried about being lonely. So, we're all living together from today."
Wait a minute. You decided this without even discussing it with me. Then Susie chimed in. "Why do we need to consult you? From today, I'll be training you properly. Got it? Don't slack off on your duties as a wife." I was just dumbfounded at her declaration. Life after that was hell. She would wake me up early in the morning and make me do chores while complaining. After returning home, it was cleaning, laundry, cooking, all with her nitpicking. She never lifted a finger herself, just watching TV and eating snacks all day. Now that she had moved in, she could have helped with the chores, but it was all dumped on me. Of course, Tony didn't do anything either. "I wish at least you would help me out here." But when I pleaded,
"Housework is a woman's job. I'm busy running a business,"
he wouldn't listen at all. Moreover, he had been coming home late ever since his mom started living together.
"I've got lots to do,"
he'd say, coming home just before the date changed. Naturally, this meant I spent more time alone with my mother-in-law. Tired of her constant nagging about housework, I came up with a plan and ordered some things online. A few days later, lots of appliances arrived at our home, a new model washing machine, a cleaning robot, a cooking appliance with some new functions, and more. If neither Tony nor his mother would help, I decided to make the housework at least a bit easier with new appliances. When I was bringing in the appliances on a weekend, they both rushed over.
Oh, Lauren, did you buy a new washing machine on your own? That old one was still working.
The old washing machine was outdated, so I'll trade it in. This will make laundry faster and easier.
And what are these? A cleaning robot? Cooking appliances? Lauren, come here, right now.
She ordered me to the living room and told me to sit on the floor. Tony, for some reason, sat proudly next to her. Yes? What is it? Then Susie, red-faced with anger, yelled at me.
What did you say? Why are you buying such lazy appliances with our money?
Lazy appliances? I thought it would smooth out the housework.
That's just an excuse for being lazy. I can't believe how much people rely on machines these days.
Tony joined in.
Yeah, Lauren, those things aren't cheap, are they? We could still use the old appliances. Just because I'm a business owner doesn't mean you can waste money.
He glared at me with my mother-in-law nodding in agreement.
My Tony's right. You're just trying to make things easy for yourself, and you can't even do housework properly.
I stayed silent, thinking, I don't want to hear this from you. But my silence seemed to irritate her, and she said impatiently,
A useless wife who can't even do housework properly should leave.
I was shocked to see her glaring at me with such a red face.
You always look so tired. You're really depressing. Don't be a disgrace to my son, the business owner. You parasite.
Excuse me? I turned to my husband and said, Hey, your mom is way out of line. Does she have any idea how much I've... Then to my surprise, he looked down on me and said,
My mom's right. We can manage just fine with her around. We don't need you anymore. Get out.
That was the last straw for me. To think he'd decide to live with his mom without consulting me and then say something like this. I thought to myself, I'll make you regret this. I immediately contained my anger and told him, Oh, really? Thank you.
What?
He looked surprised at my words. Did he think I would beg to stay? Then Susie's face lit up.
Well, isn't that great, Tony? If she leaves, we'll feel so much better. Good riddance to the useless wife.
Silently, I stood up and pulled something out of my work bag. Tony, let's get a divorce. It was a filled-out divorce agreement. I had gotten tired of it all and had taken the agreement as a safety measure.
Huh? You even prepared this? Fine, I'll sign it. But don't come back regretting it.
After hesitating for a bit, he smugly began to sign the divorce agreement. That day, I packed my things and moved to a pay-by-the-day apartment. Of course, I took all the new appliances with me. Later, I rented a one-room apartment for myself, around the same time as the divorce, as promoted to manager. I had previously turned down promotions because I had to take care of the house. But now I could finally pursue my career goals. I became even more immersed in my work. A week after leaving that house, Susie started calling me. But I was busy, and frankly, I didn't want to talk to someone who called me a useless wife. So, I kept ignoring her calls. Then, half a year later, while relaxing at home on a weekend, she called again. Thinking it was time to settle things, I finally answered the phone. Hello?
Oh, Lauren, you finally answered the phone. How terrible to ignore me for half a year.
So, what do you want?
Well, first, how are you, Lauren? Are you doing well?
As she sounded like she was probing, I answered straightforwardly. How am I doing? I'm just fine, working hard in my own apartment. I got a promotion. My salary's up. Living the good life.
Is that so? Lauren, what do you think about coming back here?
I felt goosebumps as she asked in a flattering tone. Why now, all of a sudden?
We're in trouble financially.
Aha! I smirked and replied. Oh, Tony's cafe is barely making $750 a month, right? And with you not working, that's what happens.
You knew?
Indeed, his cafe was only making about $600 a month in profit. Since I was burdened with the accounting, I knew this fact all too well, but Tony, who only played the role of a business owner, seemed oblivious. I told her. Well, he pushed all the accounting and procurement onto me. Of course I knew.
Oh no! You should have told us. I had no idea that you, Lauren, a manager at a big corporation, were contributing so much to our household every month.
Yeah, I was putting in over $2,200 a month. That's how you and Tony were able to live. Knowing his cafe wasn't bringing in enough, I had been contributing a significant amount from my salary. Tony, unaware of the dire financial situation, only realized after our divorce that he couldn't live without my earnings.
Please, Lauren, come back.
Is Tony there with you? Ignoring her plea, I asked.
Yes, he's here, but...
Can you put me on the speaker? The call switched to speaker mode. Hi, Tony. How's the cafe doing? My ex-husband answered hesitantly.
I won't be able to pay the rent next month. It's not going well. Please, Lauren, come back.
I see. That's rough. Especially since the part-time girl you were cheating with ran away.
What?
I explained that I became suspicious when he started coming home late. When I visited the cafe, I saw him being overly friendly with a female staff member. When I confronted her, she spilled everything. I told her I'd forgive her if she gave me evidence of the affair. She provided plenty.
You knew?
Of course I knew about the affair. I'm definitely going to sue you for alimony. Both you, Tony, who decided to let your mom move in without talking to me first, and Susie, who called me a useless wife. I will never forgive either of you. Both of you can rot in hell. Then I heard screams from both of them through the phone. Without listening further, I hung up. 3 months later, with the help of a lawyer, I successfully received my alimony. Later, when I passed by Tony's cafe, it had become vacant. He apparently had to close his business. Checking on Susie's house, it was marked as sold. They had sold the house in a hurry and were now living in a run-down apartment struggling financially. Tony had paid the alimony by borrowing from loan sharks and was now hounded daily by debt collectors. As for me, I'm still dedicated to my work. Recently, a sincere and hard-working colleague confessed his feelings to me. We're considering a relationship with marriage in mind. It won't be long before I remarry. This time, I hope to grasp true happiness.